Okay, good. So we're back, day two, fucking video two character study. So today I thought first I want to mention the fact that most of these videos are going to be villains. I'm going to talk about Batman eventually. I'm going to probably talk about Spider-Man. I'm probably going to talk about fucking Daredevil and Moon Knight and all those guys. But like, thing about all that is villains are way more interesting to talk about because they are all of them have different like mindsets. All of them have different ways of thinking because like one villain wants to take over the world, one villain wants to blow the world up. So, yeah, that explains my whole thing with doing more villains than heroes. So today, character studies, we're doing a villain. Who are we doing? We're doing Lex Luthor, Superman's greatest enemy. So, fucking Lex Luthor appeared in Action Comics, fucking 23 of April 1940. So he's a little bit older than fucking Riddler. Now, Riddler, this is gonna be a longer video because Lex is immensely cooler and immensely more interesting than Riddler. So Lex Luthor started out as a mad scientist character back in the 40s. And like most mad scientist characters, he was very uninteresting. There wasn't a lot about him. He had no pathos. But as the years went on, they kind of developed this character. And first, his motivation was okay. So Superman used to be a character called Superboy, and he would, he basically had the same costume, and he would basically do the same thing he did as Superman, but as a teenager. And the reason he did this is because he went forward in time with the Legion of Superheroes, and the reason why he's such this altruistic good guy is because he had prior training with superheroes from like the 31st century. So, yeah, that's weird. But anyways, so as Superboy, motherfucker couldn't save Lex Luthor in a fire and he burned his hair off. That was his motivation the first time we saw him. Boring, stupid motivation. I like it. As time goes on, Lex Luthor's developed, but he's still that mad scientist character. Fast forward to the 80s, and John Byrne takes over Superman after Final Crisis in Man of Steel, the miniseries. Now, in Man of Steel, Lex Luthor basically becomes Donald Trump. Now, I'm not going to get into politics on this channel, but I don't hate Donald Trump. I have my problems, but what I'm saying is Donald Trump is a ruthless businessman. He does what's good for his company, and if that means messing some people's lives up, well, so be it. Lex is the same way. Lex will, throw a janitor off of a building because that janitor knows too much. Because if you don't know this, Lex Luthor is a corrupt businessman. He kills, he steals, he does all this different stuff for the betterment of his company, and he doesn't care because it's the betterment of his company. So the major part about Lex Luthor's character is that Lex Luthor, like Riddler, is trying to prove something. Now, Riddler needs to prove something because he's kind of a wimp. Lex Luthor is not a wimp. Lex Luthor is a winner. If Lex Luthor existed in the real world, Lex Luthor would be considered the most accomplished man of all time. Lex Luthor is, he's the smartest scientist, the smartest engineer. He's a brilliant businessman. He's strong. He fights for whatever he wants to. He's a badass. Lex Luthor is a badass. But Lex Luthor doesn't live in our world, does he? Lex Luthor lives in a world where there's a dude with a red cape who flies and can literally lift a building or a planet and can fly faster than the speed of light. So Lex is kind of obsolete. And this makes Lex very, very, very mad. Because Lex cannot take the fact that there's someone greater than him. Lex Luthor wants to be in his ivory tower and look below his servants, his people. He wants to rule Metropolis. He wants to rule the world. He wants to be the man in charge. But when there's someone who will stop him, no matter what, who's stronger than him, and faster than him, and more powerful than him, not smarter than him, that's what he has. That's the one advantage he has over Superman, is that he can outsmart Superman in every way Superman. He's kind of like Batman in that way. You see, Lex Luthor cares about his company. Lex Luthor cares about beating Superman 100 times more. Because Superman is the ultimate antithesis to his entire being. See, Superman, the ultimate, he's the best version of an alien possible. He's altruistic. He's a good person. He has our values. He shares, all of our stuff, and he protects us. Lex Luthor is the worst human possible. He doesn't share our values. He doesn't care about anyone, and he's extremely intelligent. He uses it for his own personal gain. See, I'm going to show you the proper Lex Luthor origin. See, Lex Luthor, when he was a child, he lived in Smallville. He was sort of friends with Clark Kent, not really, and he had a dad and a mom who were very abusive and were very insecure also about the fact that their son is a genius, was way smarter than they were. So his dad would abuse him regularly, so would his mom. So Lex thought of an idea. See, Lex knew that his parents would have a little inheritance. So what Lex did was set up a triggered, accident with the car, the truck. He killed both of his parents without anybody ever knowing because he's so smart. And so he gained their inheritance. And with this little inheritance, maybe about 500,000, maybe, he used that little fortune to create his LexCorp company because he's so smart and such a self-made man. He built this company to the highest standards of any company ever. LexCorp basically became a conglomerate of technology and science and shipping and everything. It became this huge company. No one could stop it. No one could stop the master of Metropolis. One man, who was actually not really a man, he was an alien, came into Metropolis, and Lex was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're stepping onto my property now. You're stepping onto what I hold dear. And you're going to take my world away from me? You're a fucking alien. You don't even deserve to be here. See, that's Lex's whole mindset. Not only is he jealous of Superman, but he truly believes Superman does not belong here. And a lot of the points that Lex makes in the books is right. See, Lex, his biggest thing is that if Superman exists in our world, we will become weak and frail. Our mindsets will become lazy. We'll be all lazy robots because we could not handle someone with so much power doing everything for us. So if Superman continues to live amongst us, we'll become weak and lazy. That's why he doesn't want Superman ruining everything. That's his whole thing. Go read, this is the first of recommended reading. Go read Lex Luthor by Brian Azzarello. It's just called Luthor. Luthor, Man of Steel. Go read that right now. That is the greatest Lex Luthor story ever told. It's the ultimate Lex Luthor story. It tells you everything about the character you need. And the cool thing about that story is it kind of shows Superman as a demon because it's all in the point of view of Lex. It's in Lex's POV the entire time. I love that book. It's my first recommended reading. My other recommended reading is Forever Evil because when Lex has to step up to the plate and be the hero, he will be the best possible hero he can be. He's a genius and he's a great leader. So whenever he has to be those two things, he can be those two things the best, And in that story, I also recommend that story for some of my other favorite villains, like Sinestro and Captain Cold. Those are great stories for those guys. Go read Forever Evil. Go read Luthor, Man of Steel. And then go read All-Star Superman. That's my third one. It's kind of the ultimate Superman versus Lex Luthor story. It's also the ultimate Superman story. So those are three main ones. You can also find other stories. All the stuff with President Lex when Lex Luthor was president, which was awesome. Lex Luthor as president was great because Superman and Batman couldn't beat him. He was so powerful because he controlled the government. He controlled everyone. So couldn't do anything to him. So big things about Lex, big features are he could either defeat Superman in the public eye or he could beat him with his battle suit. Now there's many different versions of the battle suit. For instance, there is the big version of the battle suit, and there's a smaller version of the battle suit. War suit, the battle suit, whatever. Lex built this on Apocalypse. Apocalypse is home to Darkseid, Granny Goodness, Calabac, all those guys. He used this advanced apocalyptic technology to create his war suit. And the war suit has many force fields. It has a spear made of kryptonite. It's the ultimate anti-Superman weapon, really. It's pretty good. It's a cool visual too. The books, the war suit or the battle suit. But yeah, Lex Luthor is probably my second favorite villain. other than the Joker. Lex Luthor is this ultimate, human threat who just stares in the eyes of this god and says, "Look, you may be able to throw me into the sun in the blink of an eye. You cannot beat my politics. You cannot beat my mind." So yeah, Lex Luthor is great. Great video. Love you guys. See y'all guys later.